So what I want to look at is units. What do you do with the units? What are the math on the units? How do you know if you end up with this one, it was 5 kilometers per hour times 14 hours. How do you know what the units are going to be? So I'm going to write down what that was. It was, once we plugged in the numbers, it was distance equals 5 kilometers per hour times 14 hours. Okay, then you did the math on the numbers, 5 times 14, you got 70. What about the units? How do you know what the units are going to be? How do you do the math on the units? One thing you can do is for sure just think about it common sense. Well, if you're measuring distance, what is distance measured in out of the things that you have here? It makes sense that distance would be measured in kilometers. When you're doing your practice problems, always think if it makes sense. If you do your math and you end up with distance equals 70 hours, you should go, wait a minute, that doesn't make sense. Hours doesn't measure distance. So for sure, yes, think about what is it, like what makes sense. But how do you actually figure it out? So here's the thing. You can do any math you can do on numbers, you can do on units too. So what is 2 divided by 2?
1.
So if I wrote it, it'd be like this. 2 divided by 2 is 1. What's 7 divided by 7?
1.
What's 14 divided by 14?
1.
What's 104 divided by 104?
1.
What's 2,170 divided by 2,170?
1.
What's anything divided by itself?
1.
1. Anything divided by itself is 1, which essentially means that it cancels. If something's divided by itself and equals 1, it means it cancels. So what's hours divided by hours? 1. Which as far as units goes, it means those units cancel. So look the way we have this set up. I'm going to rewrite this like this. So 5 kilometers per hour, I'm going to rewrite it just so it's clearly on the top and the bottom of a fraction, times 14 hours. We've got hours on the top of the fraction, hours on the bottom of the fraction, which means hours is divided by hours. What's hours divided by hours? 1. It's 1. It's 1. The unit divided by itself is just 1. It means the unit cancels out. So if that unit cancels out, what is our answer going to be in?
100.
It's going to be in kilometers. That's what we have left. We already did the math on the numbers. It was 70. Yeah, probably. Yeah, because your math stuff, it lines up really nicely with what we're doing in science. Because we're doing, remember, physical science is an applied math class. It's how do we use math to figure out how stuff works.
I'm not going to fail this.
So no, you're not. You're going to be fine. Anything divided by itself is 1. It cancels. Hours divided by hours is 1. It cancels. What if we had something like this? What if we had, I don't know, let's just take different numbers. What if you were on the highway and you were going 70 miles per hour for, I don't know, how far do you want to go? How long?
1 million.
For 1 million hours?
Yeah.
Okay. 1 million. Is that million yet? Not yet. 1 million hours. What would you're solving for distance. How far would you be going if you went 70 miles an hour for 1 million hours? What would your answer be?
7 million.
70, 1, 2, 3 million what? Miles. You're solving for distance. It makes sense. It would be miles. Check your units. Let's make sure that the math works for the units. Hours in the top of a fraction here. Hours in the bottom of a fraction. That means they're divided by itself. Hours divided by hours. It cancels. Any questions on that? Math on units? No? Okay.